The Rising Sun people inhabit a vast stretch of land from the northernmost foothills to the river valleys. Most of this land is swamp, which is basically a forest with waterlogged soil. They also have marshes, deltas, and subtropical forests farther south. The Rising Sun people are hunter-gatherers, eating things like water chestnuts, lotus roots, catfish, eels, and bullfrogs. Each of the three ethnic groups have a distinct form of magic. The Rising Sun people have the ability to walk on water. This makes traversing waterlogged soils much easier, at least for AFAB adults. AMABs and children can't use magic. This means that women can forage on the ground no problem, but men and children prefer to stay in the treetops where they don't have to worry about trudging through mud and water. Their dwellings in the trees are made of wooden planks lashed together with rope, and the responsibility for making and maintaining these dwellings falls on men since they're up in the trees all day anyway. Men are also responsible for caring for children while the women hunt and forage on the water below. Foraging on the water is a dangerous job because these waters are infested with crocodiles. Dealing with crocodiles requires a lot of courage, so the women on the ground are warriors as well as foragers. Of course, building shelters and caring for children is important for a society to function at a basic level. However, historically, these sorts of mundane, everyday essential tasks don't earn as much prestige. They're just things you do. Like, in the modern day, people don't get congratulated for vacuuming their floor, even though sometimes I wish they did. Instead, hunting large game and fighting crocodiles, while less essential, get viewed as impressive and thus prestigious. Thus, women in the swamps tend to earn more prestige than men. However, this isn't to say that an AMAB can't earn a woman's prestige, or an AFAB must do dangerous groundwork. The Rising Sun people are a prestige-based society, and they care less about who your parents are or how much money you have, and more about what you have done. Therefore, if an AMAB goes out with a bunch of women and subdues a crocodile, they earn the same prestige as all the other women. If an AFAB wants to stay up in the trees caring for children, that's fine too. As long as they can keep up with their peers, no one will complain, and they will be treated the same as everyone around them regardless of their sex. Sex only becomes an issue when determining parentage, and the Rising Sun people frankly couldn't care less. They are divided into tribes, not families, and they don't really have a concept of marriage. People are free to have kids with anyone they like, so most people only know the identity of the person who gave birth to them. They follow the tribe of their birth giver. After spending their first couple years with their birth giver, they are handed off to the men of the tribe who collectively raise them alongside all the other children. All the men of a tribe are the children's uncles, and the children their nibblings. However, as demonstrated by the two characters in the first video I made, some uncles and nibblings are closer than others. Every 30-ish years, the trees in the swamps all reproduce and die en masse. This is called synchronous flowering and is exhibited most prominently in bamboo, whose reproductive cycles can vary between 30 years and 120 years depending on the species. Having this sort of cycle in the swamps provides its people with a natural indicator of the passing of time without having to count individual days, seeing as their world doesn't have seasons. This means that roughly once a generation, the trees all die simultaneously. For people who spend so much time living in the trees, this marks a complete upheaval of their lifestyle. They could adapt by building on the ground, at least until the trees regrow enough to build new houses in them, but there's another problem. All these dead trees mean a lot of decomposers and detritivores. Shortly after the trees die, the region becomes a breeding ground for fungi, bacteria, and insects. This is not a healthy environment to live in, so every 30 years they pack up their belongings and move out of the swamps. Some move north into the cloud forests, some follow the rivers into marshes and coastal estuaries, and some spread out into the adjacent forests and even the river basins. The farther people move from the swamps, the less time they spend in the swamps. The ones who stay nearby may move out only until the dead trees are gone and the new trees have had a chance to regrow. Those farther out may have something closer to a 50-50 split. And the ones farthest from the swamps may decide it's just not worth the hassle to have everyone migrate, so they just send a small group of women on a generational pilgrimage to the swamps. Or maybe they just don't bother at all and stay full-time right where they are. Especially if you're in the Eastern River Basin and you've just figured out that rice makes an excellent staple. Stay tuned for my next video where I discuss the Sun Valley people and their partially agrarian lifestyle.